Welcome back, and Owen's back for a look at the day's business news. Hello again, Owen. We're going to start with the fate of BlackBerry maker Research in Motion and a showdown with investors who are losing patience.
Well, you can understand why, Claire, and the numbers say all about Research in Motion and BlackBerry and the time that it took this company to sell its own version of its tablet computer. Just 500,000 models sold across the world. Apple sold, wait for it, 12 million iPads, so outstripping BlackBerry by some considerable margin. Don't even get started when it comes to smartphones. This is BlackBerry's bread and butter staple for corporations and so on. It's been decimated by the iPhone over the last 5 years or so. Now BlackBerry tell us that an operating system that might just give the company a lift has been delayed until it would seem next year. It's leaving many shareholders and many market analysts wondering just how long this company can last. Siobhan Silk has the details for us.
Research in Motion is just limping along. Shareholders are looking for answers.
Frustrated and a little curious as to what will happen with the company's future.
You can only support them for so long. And I want to see some reasons to continue supporting.
The Canadian company, which builds the BlackBerry mobile device, has seen its stock price plummet 70% in the last year. But that doesn't even tell the whole story. It's the continuation of an already catastrophic drop in share price from a high point before the introduction of the rival iPhone 5 years ago. After a leadership shake-up earlier this year, management has vowed to rescue RIM and insists there's still a place for it in the market.
Yes, we will be competing in the smartphone category with the iPhone, with Android, with other devices.
But the new BlackBerry 10 operating system, meant to increase the functionality of its devices, has been plagued by delays, further threatening its already damaged market share. It owns just 6% of the global market, half where it was last year. Major investors came out of the shareholders' meeting unimpressed.
Highly disappointing presentation, and it frankly looks like a sad company right now that needs a major fix.
Investors complain the current board lacks tech experience and is too Canadian heavy. They want to see new blood from the US. Analysts say Research in Motion has very little time to turn itself around. The shareholders' meeting came just 2 weeks after the company posted its first operating loss in 8 years and announced massive job cuts. It's letting go of 5,000 people, a third of its workforce.
Just a reminder, Claire, that it's not, of course, just BlackBerry that's suffering right now at the hands of Apple. Nokia, its share price sank to a new fresh low, the lowest in 16 years for the Finnish mobile phone maker. Its share price down to just €1.50 in trading on Tuesday. That's following the company's announcement a little earlier this month, or late last month, sorry, that it's going to shed 10,000 jobs. Remember, Nokia is the company that's tried to reinvent itself a little bit with Windows, with the new generation of smartphones. People just aren't buying them, it seems.
And Research in Motion lost another 5% as the annual meeting was taking place. So what about the rest of the markets? How are they looking?
Not a great day's trade so far. The Nikkei off by around 0.5%, and you can see that's pretty much the pattern across the rest of the Asian markets. Interesting that the Nikkei is down 3% for the month so far, and yet it finished June 3% in the green. So you can see already a pretty steep decline.
All right, let's now pick up on some more of the day's business headlines. Spain's Prime Minister is due to announce tens of billions of euros in more cutbacks. The new austerity measures are likely to include increased VAT and a raised retirement age to help reduce Spain's debts. The government has agreed to impose further cuts in return for up to 100 billion euros from the EU to recapitalise Spain's banks.
Disgraced Barclays chief executive Bob Diamond is turning down up to £20 million in his severance package. The former head of the UK bank, who was the country's highest paid banker, will be left with around £2 million after quitting over the manipulation of interbank lending rates known as LIBOR. Outgoing chairman Marcus Agius gave the details of the payoff in his testimony to Parliament over the affair.
And bankrupt American Airlines is looking to merge. The US carrier says it's on its way to a successful restructuring 7 months after going bust amid losses of $10 billion. US Airways is the leading contender, having repeatedly wooed American by saying the two companies together could better compete against Delta.
Well, we're going to stay in the air for a moment now because the global financial crisis has meant some big cutbacks in defence spending for some of the world's big military powers like the United States and Britain. And yet the market for unmanned bombers and spy planes has never been better. It's booming, in fact. It's been so far dominated by many American manufacturers supplying the war in Afghanistan. and now French and British firms want a slice of the action. Our reporter Alex Bale sent us this report from the UK's International Farnborough Air Show.
Drones are taking off this year at Farnborough. The amount of floor space devoted to them has doubled, and a new Anglo-French model is causing a lot of excitement.
What's behind us here is a visualisation of what a future UCAV could look like.
Produced by Dassault and BAE Systems, the project is set to be signed off by the French and British governments later this month. It's the first European venture into a market set to be worth €76 billion over the next 8 years.
Both BAE Systems and Dassault have an aerospace heritage. We know how to design and build aeroplanes. We've done a lot of work on the sort of unmanned components of that and the technology elements of that. So I think we're ready when the governments are to actually move into that programme.
Up to now, the sector has been dominated by US and Israeli firms. One of the most popular models is the Predator drone, sold by American manufacturer General Atomics Aeronautical for €3.5 million apiece.
Our products are well known, they're highly proven, they're very cost effective, and they're superior products. So competition, we welcome competition. We don't run from competition.
Between now and 2020, the US is expected to finance 77% of all research into drones and be responsible for 38% of purchases.
And before we go, Owen, proof that you can't beat a taste of home.
This is Marks & Spencer, Claire, who emailed me last night. They had their sales figures out yesterday and had told me they wanted to talk about their French figures. Absolutely fascinating figure in amongst all this sales data that I picked out. The Paris store in the Champs-Élysées opened at the tail end of last year, with Marks & Spencer returning to France for the first time in around a decade. Over the Diamond Jubilee weekend in the UK, they sold 9,000 Jubilee biscuit tins, chocolate coins and Union flag lollipops at their Champs-Élysées store. Now, that was the second highest food sales for the whole group. So the French store was outselling nearly every UK store over that Jubilee weekend. Despite all that, food sales were pretty good for the last quarter for M&S, up by around 3%. But the company overall hasn't had a great quarter. Total sales down by nearly 1%. But you can see French shoppers are pretty much holding this company.
They love shortbread, apparently.
They love shortbread and Jubilee biscuit tins.
I bought one of those Jubilee biscuit tins, but in the UK.
Oh, there you go. Well, it does lead to that, obviously, that old adage, really, that you can't really beat a taste from home, as you say. Is there anything you particularly miss being an expat here?
Well, that's the thing. You can buy baked beans, you can buy dairy milk. So
fish and chips is the thing I really miss about the UK. I haven't found it here so far in Paris. If you're an expat, wherever you're watching us around the world and wherever you're from and you have a particular hankering for something from home, I'd love to know what it is. Do drop me a line on Twitter. My details should be coming up on the screen in just a second. There you go, at OwenFrance24. Whatever you miss about home, wherever you're working in the world, then do let me know.
Baked potatoes.
Baked
I can think of lots more
I haven't
things
had a baked
now.
potato for a few years. Yeah, but you can do those at home, can't you? Providing you get the right
could.
one. A good Maris Piper, I think.
Ooh, all right. Makes me want to go down to the pub. Thank you very much, Owen. That's it for business, and that's it from me for now. Do stay tuned to France 24.